Hi there, I'm Kath. My channel is Made by Kath Crafts, and over the last couple of weeks I've been having a bit of a clear out of my handmade wardrobe. And in this video I'm going to be sharing the handmade garments I think I'm going to be passing on to somebody else and why. Hi there, I'm Kath. Welcome to my channel Made by Kath Craft. Thank you very much for joining me for my latest video. So for the last week or two I've been having a good old look through my handmade wardrobe and figuring out the garments that I really love to wear and I'm wearing a lot, and the ones that I'm not really reaching for as much. And I always find I end up doing this sort of clear out around this time of year. I think because it's getting towards sunny weather, so I'm starting to put my winter wardrobe away and kind of assessing what I've been wearing and what I haven't reached for all winter. And I'm also starting to get my summer wardrobe out and thinking about the garments that I'm really looking forward to wearing and the ones I'm not so sure about. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the garments that I found that I don't think I'm wearing and I'm not going to get much wear out of in the future. So I'm hopefully going to hand them on to somebody else, either some friends or family or a local charity shop or something along those lines. But before I start sharing the handmade garments I think I'm going to be clearing out and the reasons why they're not really working for me anymore, as usual I'll start this video off with what I'm wearing today. And today it's a really lovely warm day here in the south of England. We're at the start of a mini heat wave that's set to run over the next few days. I think it's due to get over 30 later this week, which is really hot for around here. But it's a great opportunity to get out some of those really summery garments. And today I am wearing a dress that I made using this pattern here, which is the Ariana woven dress pattern by Style Arc. And this is the only Style Arc pattern I've made to date actually, but I really love this pattern. I think I've made 3 versions of the Ariana dress so far. So it does make me want to try more Style Arc patterns, but I'll show you the line drawings for this one. So it's a woven dress and top pattern, although I've only made the dress to date. But it's got this button down front and a gathered skirt and optional patch pockets. And then it's got a really pretty bodice with princess seams and a sweetheart neckline and these strappy straps. But the feature I really like about this pattern that really appealed to me is that it has this sheared panel on the bodice at the back, and it makes it really comfy to wear because although you have a sort of fitted effect from the princess seams, the shearing makes it nice and stretchy at the back, so it's a really nice comfy one to wear, and I always enjoy getting out my Ariana sundresses. And I made this one in a really nice Pima cotton fabric that I got from an online fabric shop that has since unfortunately closed down. I think I might have seen this fabric more recently somewhere online though, and if I can find it, I'll link it in the description down below, along with all the patterns and fabrics I talk about in this video, wherever possible. But it's a really lovely pattern, the Ariana dress, really comfy to wear, and I quite like the midi length of it. It's a length I'm really enjoying at the moment. One thing I would mention if you're looking into this pattern is the instructions are fairly sparse. Yeah, they're quite limited compared to some of the other indie pattern companies. They don't really hold your hand through the process. So I would recommend it's one for, well, it does say it's a medium sew, and I would recommend it's one for if you're confident sort of tackling a pattern without really detailed instructions. So I found it okay, but it definitely was a bit of a shock to the system after working on some other indie patterns before this one. But it's a lovely dress with a really lovely shape to it. I'll pop my hair back so you can see the sort of sweetheart neckline. And like I said, the shearing panel at the back makes it really comfy to wear too. So moving on now to the garments that I think I'm going to be clearing out of my wardrobe. I thought I'd start with a few jersey tops that I'm not really reaching for anymore. And there are a few different jersey tops I made using different patterns. So I'm going to share the patterns and the garments and why I don't think I'm reaching for them so much, and I think I'm going to be passing them on to someone else. And the first one is this t-shirt here. So this is a t-shirt I made using this pattern here, which is the Stellan Tee pattern by French Navy. It's a really nice free t-shirt pattern and quite easy to get hold of. You just need to go on the French Navy website and you can download it there. And I really love this pattern actually. I'll show you the line drawing or the kind of pattern drawing at the front here. It's quite a boxy shaped t-shirt with a crew neck, and you can add these sort of optional sort of rolled up sleeve cups, which I like. But the overall feel is quite a casual, relaxed sort of t-shirt that's designed to be a little bit oversized. And I really love this pattern. I've got a few versions of Stellan Tee that I do reach for a lot, but I don't really find myself reaching for this one quite as much. And the reason I think why is because this one I made in a cotton jersey fabric, which is a bit more substantial. And my other versions that I love and I wear a lot are made in more drapey, lighter weight jersey fabric. So I've got a viscose jersey one in a leopard print, and I've got a bamboo jersey one in a navy blue, and I wear them a lot. But the cotton jersey one, I think the reason I don't reach for it is the sort of seam line for the shoulder here, or sort of where the sleeves added on, sort of sits right on my shoulder here. And I've got quite angular shoulders, and because it's a cotton jersey and it's not so drapey and it's slightly more substantial, I find it just creates quite an angular shape on my shoulders that I'm not so keen on. Whereas the drapier ones just hang a little bit more relaxed and they don't feel quite as square on my shoulders. So that's the reason I don't think I really reach this one, although I love the print of this fabric, it's really cute. It's got these little cats peeking out from under, sort of the stripes are almost like blankets and the cats are peeking out from them. But I do actually have another garment I made in this fabric. I originally made a Freya top by tilling the buttons in this fabric, and that is one of my favourite jersey top patterns. I do reach for that version a lot, so even though I'm going to be handing this one on, I know I've still got some of this fabric left still to enjoy. But yeah, I think going forward, I'm going to just purely make the Stellantis and Drapier lighter weight jerseys and not a cotton jersey. So the next two jersey tops that I think I'm going to clear out of my handmade wardrobe and hand on are two tops that I made using the same pattern, and it's another free pattern actually. It's this one here, which is the Kimono Tee pattern by Maria Denmark. And again, it's quite easy to get hold of this pattern. You just need to go on the Maria Denmark website, which I'll link down below, and sign up to the newsletter, and then you get emailed the pattern files. And it's a really nice tee pattern, a great little scrap buster, because there are only two main pattern pieces to this one. There's a front tee pattern and a back tee pattern, and the sleeves are grown on, so there aren't separate sleeve pattern pieces. And it's got this sort of boat neckline, and you just need a little bit more fabric to finish the neckline, but it comes together really nicely. But I've made two versions of that pattern, and I made them both in fabric I had left over from other projects, because like I mentioned, it's quite a good scrap buster and I had just enough fabric to squeeze these t-shirts out. So I'll show you the t-shirts and then I'll share with you why I think I'm going to be handing them on, because I don't really reach for them much. So the first one is this one here, which I made in this really cute cotton jersey fabric with this navy base and these bees on it. And I originally used this fabric to make a Tilly in the Buttons Freya dress, and if I can find a picture of that dress, I'll pop it up here. And I love wearing the Freya dress, and I do often wear that one in winter, but I don't find myself reaching for this t-shirt quite as much. And I'll show you my second version of the Kimono Tee. Here it is. And I made this again in fabric left over from another project. And funnily enough, this was also left over from another Tilly in the Buttons Freya dress I made, but this Freya dress I made with a cowl neck. And again, I'll see if I can find a picture and pop it up there, and I love that dress. So yeah, this is another cotton jersey fabric, and it's got a red base with these lovely tulips on, and it came from Self-Made, but I don't think this fabric's in stock anymore. And again, this fabric came from a fabric shop. I don't remember where it came from, but again, it was a long time ago, so I doubt it is in stock anymore. But yeah, I've made two versions of the Kimono Tee, but I just don't find myself reaching for them, and I think it's because I'm just not so keen on this style of sleeve on me. It's a cap sleeve which comes up quite high, and it's just not a style that I really enjoy wearing. I just find myself reaching for my other t-shirts more. I think I prefer like a dropped shoulder, more relaxed sleeve t-shirt. So yeah, just don't really reach them, although I love the prints. But I know I've got other garments that I do wear in these prints, so I don't feel too bad about handing these on to someone else who hopefully will love them a bit more than me and get a bit more wear out of them than me. So the next jersey top that I think I'm going to clear out of my handmade wardrobe and hand on to somebody else is one I made using a pattern I really love, and it's this pattern here, which is the Agnes Top pattern by Tilly in the Buttons. And I find this one a really great basic sort of staple jersey top pattern. I'll show you the line drawings. It's quite a close fitting jersey top with this scoop neckline, and you can add optional ruching at the front here, or also on the sleeves to add sort of more volume to the top of the sleeves. But I really like this basic simple version here, which is for a close fitting jersey top with a scoop neckline and long sleeves, and it's quite easy to crop the sleeves off to turn into a t-shirt or a 3/4 length top too. And I just find it's a really great one to pair with a pair of jeans. It's really casual and comfy to wear. And I've made a few versions of the Agnes top that I really love and I do reach for a lot, but I've got one version here that I don't reach for. And it's again a top I made in fabric left over from another project, and I wanted to find a use for the leftover fabric. And this is the version I think I'm going to be handing on. It's a really lovely fabric with a really pretty floral print on. It's got sort of a purpley, maroony type base and lots of lovely pink and peachy flowers on it. And I originally made a pair of Hudson pants by True Bias in this fabric. They're quite jazzy Hudson pants. I'll see if I can find a picture again. I added on hot pink cuffing at the bottom and had a bit of fun with them, and I wear them loads actually. They're actually looking a bit faded compared to this top, which I haven't worn as much. But the reason why I don't reach this top is because the fabric is a loop back jersey fabric, as you can hopefully see if I hold it up, rather than a cotton jersey. So it's a little bit more substantial, I guess, like a French terry weight fabric. So I just find, I made it in the same size as I usually make for Tilly patterns and for the Agnes top in particular, which is a size 2, which pretty much fits my measurements. But I think this fabric maybe has a little bit less stretch than a cotton jersey, so I find it ends up feeling a bit tight and restrictive when I wear it, and also a bit hot too, a bit too cozy. I definitely prefer the Agnes in a lighter weight cotton jersey. So although I think the fabric's really cute, it's not one I reach for just because of the fabric choice on this one. But I'm hoping I might be able to find someone else who might get more out of it and might enjoy wearing a slightly cozier top than I like to wear for me. So the next jersey top that I'm planning to clear out of my handmade wardrobe and hopefully pass on to somebody who will get more wear out of it than I will, is actually quite a recent make. So you might recognise this one from my videos earlier this year. And it's actually one I made as a wearable toile of a new pattern, and I wanted to sort of check the fit of the pattern before I went ahead and got some final fabric to make my final version. And the pattern is another French navy pattern. It is the Asterite, and I'll show you the line drawings for this one. So it's quite a cropped, boxy style tee, and it's got a crew neck and an optional patch pocket on the front, and you can either make a version with sort of long sleeves added, or there's this version of the short sleeves which is a grown on sleeve with a cuff on it, and it's got this really nice feature at the bottom of the hem. It's got a split hem at each side, and I found that sewed up really nicely. It was a really nice way of finishing that hem, and I think it's a really nice feature for this top. So I really like this t-shirt, and I would like to make a final version at some point in the future. I haven't found the fabric I want to make it in yet. But in the meantime, I made this wearable toile to check the fit, and here it is. So I made it in this really cute cotton jersey fabric, which came from Self-Made quite a while ago. But it's got a black base with these Dalmatians on. And I originally used this fabric to make a top for my mum because 101 Dalmatians is her favourite book, so I thought she might like a top with a Dalmatian print on. So I think because I chose this fabric for somebody else, it probably isn't what I'd have chosen for myself, and it's not one I'm finding myself reaching for. But I'm hoping I can find a nice home fit because it is a really nice top. And as you can see, here's the sort of split hem at the bottom. It comes together really nicely. I think it's a really nice feature. And it's a really comfy top to wear too. But I would definitely like to make it again, but just in a fabric that I choose for myself, I think. So that's that one. So I've got one more jersey top to share with you that I'm planning on clearing out of my handmade wardrobe. And then after that, I'm going to share a few dresses that I'm also planning on letting go. And I'm going to share the reasons why I'm not really reaching for them anymore. But the final jersey top that I'm planning on clearing out is one that I made using a pattern from this ebook, which is the Sew Over It a City Break ebook. And Sew Over It, I've done a few ebooks now, but this is the only one I've got to date, although I have been tempted by a couple of others. And the main reason I got this ebook was for a particular pattern in it, and I do quite like it when you get an ebook because you can just sort of print out the patterns you want and are planning to make. So I've only printed out one pattern to date, and it is the Molly top and dress, and I'll show you the line drawings. So it's a jersey top and dress pattern, and it's got quite a relaxed fit to it, quite a wide neckline, and it's got this drop shoulder and then a sleeve on it. And you can either make it as a sort of simple jersey top or quite a nice relaxed sort of sweater dress. And I really like the Molly dress and top pattern. I've made a few versions of the top and the dress, and I wear them quite a lot, but there's one version I just don't reach for and I'm planning on passing on. It's this one here. And I made this version in this cotton jersey that is a Tilly in the Buttons cotton jersey, which I think they manufactured in collaboration with the Craft Cotton Co. They did a whole series of fabrics a while ago. And this is one of the prints, and I thought it was quite a pretty print. It's got a white base and these stripes on in different sort of pastel colours. And so I had a bit of fun with the stripes on this one. I did a sort of stripy neckline the other way. And you can see I like on the Molly how when you make a stripy sleeve, it's got quite a pretty effect. It has this sort of V on the shoulder coming down into a sort of horizontal stripe. So I do like that effect. And I've got a couple of stripy Mollys I do wear quite a lot. But I just don't find myself reaching for this one. I think the neckline doesn't quite sit right on me on this one. I think it doesn't sit as flat as I might like it to. And also I just don't think these colours are ones I just tend to wear or tend to sort of like to wear as much. And although I thought the fabric was really pretty, I just don't think it's quite for me. The bright yellow and the turquoise, they aren't really colours I reach for very much. So I don't know what it is about this one. I just don't reach for it much. So I'd love it if it would go to another home who might get a little bit more wear out of this one. So those are all the jersey tops that I'm planning on clearing out and handing on to other people. And actually it's quite nice because my jersey drawer is quite full, so it'll be nice to have a bit more space in there, and also to know that the tops I'm not really reaching for, I can hopefully hand on to a new home who might enjoy them more than I have been. But I'll move on now to sharing with you some of my dresses that I'm also planning on handing on. And the first dress I've got to share is one I made using a pattern I mentioned earlier in this video, which is this pattern here, the Agnes top pattern by Tilly in the Buttons. And there's a tutorial on the Tilly and the Buttons website, and I'll link it down below, for how you can turn the Agnes top into a jersey dress with a gathered skirt. It's a really simple tutorial and really easy to follow. And so I've made a couple of versions of the Agnes dress, or the Agnes top converted into an Agnes dress. And one I do wear quite a lot. It's in a art gallery fabric, and I'll try and put a picture up if I can find one. But the other version I made, I just don't reach for as much, and it's this one here. And so this version is one I made in this lovely yellow cotton jersey with sort of yellow and white stripes on, which I really like this fabric actually. And as you can see, I altered the neckline on this Agnes top, or this Agnes dress. And I changed it to a boat neckline by using the boat neckline from the Mandy Boat Tee by Tessuti, which is a free pattern, and it was quite easy just to switch the neckline and pop it on here. And I've made a couple of Agnes tops actually with this neckline, and I really like wearing them. And I do really like this dress. I think it's really cute in this yellow fabric. And this is a cotton jersey that I got from Lily and Mimi fabric shop. I'll link Lily and Mimi down below, but I got this fabric quite a long time ago, so I doubt it will still be in stock. But I think it was an organic cotton jersey from memory, and it's really quite substantial. It's a really nice quality jersey. And I think that actually the fact that it's such a nice quality substantial jersey is one of the reasons why I don't really reach for it, because it actually feels a little bit tight when I wear it, a bit like the Agnes top in French Cherry that I mentioned earlier in this video. I think my other Agnes tops I've made in slightly lighter weight, more stretchy fabrics. This one just feels a little bit snug when I wear it, which makes me not really reach for it. And the other thing about this one that I probably, sort of makes me not reach for it so much is the fact that, like I mentioned before with the Molly top, I just don't think yellow is my colour. Although I do love the colour yellow and I think it's such a nice happy colour, I just don't think it suits me very well. So it's not one I feel like I look my best in, I guess. So yeah, although it's a really cute dress, as you can see, here's a gathered skirt. I've got a 3/4 sleeve on this one. It's just not one I reach for, a bit too tight and a bit too yellow, I guess. So I'm hoping I'll be able to find a nice home for this one, because it is such lovely fabric and it is like a nice dress, I think. So it's just a bit of a shame it doesn't quite work for me. So the next dress that I'm planning on clearing out of my handmade wardrobe is another quite recent make like the Asterite. So you might recognise this from my videos this year. And it's a dress I made as part of the So Frugal challenge, which ran on YouTube and Instagram. And it was a challenge to make a garment using a free pattern and fabric from your stash. So I made a couple of different garments for the So Frugal challenge, but the one I think I'm going to hand on is this dress I made. You can see it here. It is a jersey dress I made, and I made it by hacking a pattern I mentioned earlier in the video, which is the Maria Denmark Kirsten Kimono Tee pattern. So I cropped that Kirsten Kimono Tee pattern off just above my natural waist and added on a gathered skirt to make a little jersey dress. It was quite a nice fun make to try, and for the top I used some fabric left over from another make. It was another Tilly and the Buttons Freya dress, so yeah, that's the kind of one I wear a lot again. I do love my Freya dresses, but I had some fabric left over, which I managed to just squeeze out this top, and then I added on the skirt using some jersey fabric I had in my stash that I think I planned to use it for something else, but I hadn't got around to making that yet, so it worked quite well to add on a skirt to this pattern. But I just find myself not reaching for this one. Like I mentioned with the Kirsten Kimono Tee, I'm just decided I'm not sure about this sleeve on me, and it's not a sleeve sort of style that I feel most comfortable in. And also I was quite limited on the fabric for the top. As you can see, I had to do a centre seam down the back because I didn't have quite enough to cut one piece on the fold for the back. So there's a centre seam down the back, which isn't a problem. But I did have to crop it quite short, and I feel like it's ended up somewhere between an empire line and my natural waist, and it's just not quite the right length on me. I'll put a picture up so you can see what it looks like. I do have quite a long body or a long torso, so I'm thinking this dress might work well on somebody that had a slightly shorter torso than me, because it might sit nicely on their natural waist, whereas for me it just feels like it's creeping up a little bit high. So that is the reason why I'm just not really reaching for this one, and I think I'm going to try and pass it on. So the next dress that I'm thinking of clearing out of my handmade wardrobe, but I'm a little bit on the fence about because I do really love it, so I'm slightly reluctant on this one. It's a dress I made using this pattern here, which is the Cardamom Dress pattern by Deer & Doe. And it's a really pretty woven dress pattern. It has lots of really interesting details on it. I'll show you the line drawings close up. So it's kind of a knee-length dress with a sheared waistline. So it's a bit unusual, a bit different, I think. And a sort of blousy bodice. And it's got this bib at the front with buttons and a full collar. Then you can either make a sleeveless version, which is the version I've made, or a version with sleeves. And it's got a gathered skirt with these little sort of slip pockets at the side too. So there's lots going on with this one, and I think Deer & Doe rate it as a level 4 out of 5 because there are lots of fiddly bits. It's a bit of a complicated make. But it's really lovely, and I think it's so pretty with all that different details. And I've actually made two versions of this pattern, and actually the first version I made I have already passed on, and I talked about that one in my last year's handmade wardrobe edit video, which I did around this time last year, and I'll link it in case you fancy checking that one out and seeing my first version of the Cardamom dress. But I went on to make one more version that I thought might work better than my first version, and this is my second version I made, and I made it in this really pretty viscose fabric that I got from an online fabric shop that's unfortunately since closed down. It's got a lovely red base with all these really pretty white flowers on. I think it's such a romantic print, this one. As you can see, I've got the collar there, I've got the buttons, I've got the bib detail, the sheared waistline and the skirt with the pockets. So all the details there, and it's short sleeved, and it's got a nice little sort of yoke at the back too, which is quite pretty as well. So I really love this dress, and I really enjoyed sewing it and taking my time over finishing it. But it's just not one I reach for, and I don't know why. I think maybe I don't find the shearing all the way around my waist comfortable, because it maybe feels like it rides up a little bit. That might be it. I've tried sort of styling it for winter with a black top underneath, but I just don't find myself reaching for it, and I just can't think why. There's just other things I choose that I find more comfy to wear, that I prefer to wear over this one. So I can't really find anything particularly wrong with it. It just seems a shame for it to be sitting in my wardrobe and me never reaching for it, because it is quite a pretty dress, I think. So I might keep it for a little bit longer, but just sort of, you know, monitor whether I ever reach for it and think about getting rid of it later this year, because I would get rid of this one with reluctance, because I do think it's a really pretty make. I did take quite a lot of time sewing this one, so I feel like I'm sort of invested in it a little bit, but yeah, I just don't know why I'm not reaching for it. The Cardamom Dress by Deer & Doe in this lovely red viscose fabric. So the next dress I'm thinking of clearing out of my handmade wardrobe is one I'm more confident about wanting to hand on than with the Cardamom dress. And I think that's because for this one I have a clear idea of why I don't really reach for it and why it's not quite working for me. And it's a dress I made using this pattern here, which is the Davenport Dress pattern by Friday Pattern Co. It's a really pretty woven dress pattern. It's got quite a lot going on it, a bit like the Cardamom dress, but I'll show you the line joints up close so you can see all the details. It's got a neckline that's finished with elastic at the front here, which gives this really pretty gathering and also means it's easy to pop on and up over your head. It's got this yoke at the front and back and these little sort of flutter shoulder details. Then it's got full sleeves with a frill at the bottom. It's got a blousey bodice with a sort of casing and drawstring that sort of pulls it into the waistline. Then it's got slash pockets and an extra ruffle on the skirt. So lots going on, but it's a really nice sew. It comes together really nicely, and I do like Friday Pattern Co. instructions and how the garments are finished. It has got quite a lot of gathering on this one, so if you don't like gathering, it probably isn't for you. But it's a really nice pattern, and I've made two versions. And the version I think I might like to pass on is this one here, my first version I made. And so my first version I made, and I made it in this cotton lawn fabric. It is a Lady McElroy cotton lawn. It's quite cute. It's got this white base with these little black dots on it. And I got this from Minerva, and last time I looked, this fabric was out of stock, but I'll check again, and if it is in stock, I'll link it down below. So this is the first version of the Davenport dress I made. I made it per the pattern, but with a couple of adjustments. I made this skirt tier here a bit shorter, because I found the dress came up a bit longer on me than I was expecting. But the main adjustment I made was to the sleeves. I cropped them off to just above the elbow, and I also brought them in a lot, so they're a lot less full than the pattern intended, because I found when they were more voluminous, this dress was wearing me a little bit. So I took them in a lot, and I also added just a simple elastic casing at the bottom to finish them, rather than with the extra frill, again, just to sort of make it a little bit less full on, so I didn't feel like the dress was wearing me. This is my version, and then even with those adjustments, I just don't find myself really reaching for it. So I'll put a picture up of it on so you can see what it looks like on. And I think the reason is mainly because of the fabric choice that I went for. Although cotton lawn I think does work really well for the dress and shows off all the little features, I find it's just a little bit crisp, and I don't find it so comfortable to wear. I don't really ever find myself thinking I'm going to wear it for all the different seasons. It feels that there's too much fabric going on for a summery dress, so I don't really reach for it in the summer. I feel it's too lightweight and too light colour for the winter as well, so I don't really reach for it then either, and I haven't found myself reaching for it in between. It just isn't one I guess I enjoy wearing, although I think it's quite a pretty dress. I did go on to make another version of the Davenport dress. I made a wintry version in a viscose fabric. I'll put a picture up of it if I can find it. It's a black base viscose with little daisies on it in white. And I made that one long sleeved. And I find the Davenport dress on me feels much more comfortable in a viscose with that sort of drape and the swishiness. I just find I enjoy wearing that one a lot more than my cotton lawn version. But I do think it's quite a pretty dress. I'm hoping I'll be able to find a new home for this one with someone that would enjoy wearing it. It just isn't one that I feel so comfortable wearing myself. So the final dress that I'm thinking of getting rid of as part of my handmade wardrobe clear out is one of my earliest sewing makes when I first started dressmaking. So it has a bit of sentimental value. I remember finishing this dress and being so pleased that I'd managed to actually complete it. I felt like a real sense of achievement at having followed the instructions through, and it's actually turned out to be a wearable garment. But I think because it was one of my early makes, it has ended up not really working, which I'll explain in a moment, but I'll show you the pattern that I used first. The pattern I used for this make is this one here. It is the Simplicity K1355A pattern, one of their easy to sew patterns, and it's a really nice pattern with some interesting variations to it. So you can make it as a jumpsuit or a play suit or a dress version. It's got two different bodice options. I'll show you them close up. The first one is this V-neck bodice, which has fabric sort of gathered into the sort of shoulder straps. And the second version, which is the one I made, is this version here, where you cut the front and back pieces as two pieces, and then you sort of sew them together at the front and add a little casing at the top, and then you thread this tie and it sort of secures around the neckline. So it's quite a pretty and interesting different way to finish a neckline, and I was really interested in that sort of top style when I got this pattern. I really wanted to give that a go. So my first version I made of it was this one here. I said it's one of my earliest garments, and I made it in this fabric that has a really pretty print on it. I think it's got a navy base and these little almost shells, and I think the background reminds me of the seaside, so it's a really sort of nautical seasidey print on this one. So here's my version, and I think at the time I was a bit sort of new at figuring out how much fabric I needed, so I under-ordered on the fabric, so I had to make it short rather than longer. But it came together okay. You can see at the top here, it's got the little sort of casing and the tie here that secures round. And the armholes are finished with bias binding. I'm finding that quite tricky at the time, but it did come together. So this is my version. And the main reason I don't reach this, actually there's two reasons, is firstly it's a little bit snug on the hips. I think I didn't go for the right size on the hips this pattern because I was quite new to reading patterns. I might have just gone based on my bust measurement, I don't even remember. But it is a bit snug on the hips to wear. And the second thing is I made it in this fabric, which is a quilting cotton. So it's like quite a substantial weight cotton. So it doesn't really work so well as a summer dress. I find it a bit too thick. And obviously it is very summery, so I couldn't really wear it any other time of year. So it's just not quite right on me anymore. But I do love it, so part of me kind of wants to keep it of sentimental value even if I don't wear it. I have actually gone on to make another version of this pattern. I made a version, I got enough fabric, and I made the full length version here, and I made it in a floaty viscose fabric, and I'll put a picture up of that one. And I also think I sized up slightly to give me a bit more room around the hips. And I really enjoy wearing that one. So I guess this one ended up being almost like a wearable 12, my version I made more recently, which I really love wearing because it's such a nice pattern. So yeah, I'm not sure whether to hang on to this one or not. I'm not sure if anyone else would get much use out of it. Part of me is quite tempted to maybe use the fabric I've got for, you know, pocket bags and that sort of thing, so I can still enjoy the fabric and remember this make. I just don't know, but it doesn't quite work as it is. So those are all of the garments that I've picked out that I'm considering clearing out as part of my handmade wardrobe edit. I do find it quite hard to part with handmade garments because, you know, I've spent the time sewing them and choosing the fabric, so you do get a bit attached to them, I find. But it's really nice to know that I might be able to find somebody who will appreciate those garments and get a bit more wear out of them than I am at the moment. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing about all those garments and the reasons why they're not quite for me and why they're not working. It was quite interesting for myself to talk through them because I do find the more I sew, the more I learn about my style and about fabric choices and what I feel more comfortable wearing. So I feel like I'm always learning new things, which I love about sewing. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed the video, as ever, I would love it if you give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you consider subscribing. And then if you press the bell icon as well, it means you'll be notified when my future videos come out. So thank you again for watching. I hope you have a lovely day and I will see you again soon. Bye.